Dr. Quinn, how accurate are these home tests?
Well, right now, the data is reporting that these home tests are about 85% on an average as far as their accuracy. And a lot of it depends on how much of an infection a person has. Normally, when a person comes into contact with someone with coronavirus, if they do get infected, it takes a couple of days to build up the viral load, meaning they have a higher amount of the virus in their respiratory system. At this point, the person is more infectious, but also note that the person is more likely to have a true positive test when they do the home testing. So supposedly if a person contracts coronavirus and is very early, they might have coronavirus, but they might get what's called a false negative, because when you do the sample, the viral load is so low that it might not be detected. That's why it's being recommended, if you suspect you have it, go ahead and test again in about maybe a couple of days, and that way you'll have a better chance of picking up if you do have coronavirus.
Yeah, it makes sense. Is there any brand that's more effective than any other of these home tests?
I'm going to be honest. I called a number of pharmacists around the city, and they basically said you just have to get what you can. Now, there are three very common brands. It's the Abbott Bionox, the Illum COVID-19 home test, and the Quidel Quick View test. These are the most common three that are the pharmacies are offering, the Walgreens, your Walmart. But the take home is, if you can get a test, get it, because they are going very hot. As soon as they come in, these pharmacists are assuring me that they're flying off the shelf, and people are coming in and they're disappointed because they're running out so quickly.
Wow. Should everyone who tests positive using a home test also go get a more comprehensive test from a doctor?
Well, it's not a bad idea, but just note that the problem with the home test is not so much the specificity, meaning if you test positive, there's a high probability, a very high probability that's a true positive. The problem is the sensitivity, meaning if you test negative, then there's a question, was the test done properly? Did you have a high enough viral load? So if you have a positive home test, it doesn't hurt to get a confirmatory test, but more importantly, most organizations like the airlines, if you're traveling, abroad, they require that polymerase or that PCR test, which is much more sensitive. It's greater than 90%. Some sources are saying as high as 98%. And another thing is it's administered by a healthcare professional, which gives it a better chance of being done more properly.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll see what I can get for a stocking stuffer for some folks this year for Christmas. Get them a home COVID test. Thank you, Dr. Quinn, for being with us today and shedding light on this, because it is kind of confusing. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, sir.